morning. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next we have is the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Approval of last week's minutes.
I will move to approve the minutes from last week's meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Approval of claims for payment.
I'll make a motion to approve claims for payment.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next, we have a series of change in statuses on the Sheriff's Office.
I'll make a motion to approve the change of status for Mackenzie Eisentrager as a resignation as correctional officer at the Sheriff's Office. Last day of work will be November 24th, 2015.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
There's a resignation for Elizabeth Glade as a communications officer or communications operator at the Sheriff's Office. Last day was April 24th, 2015.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And there's a change of status for Andrew Stansberry, a resignation as a correctional officer at the Sheriff's Office. Last day of work was 11/24 of 2015.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
And there's also another one for Adam Oswegen, correctional officer at the Sheriff's Office. Last day of work 11/24/15.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
And another correctional officer, St. Thomas Kramer. Discharge as a correctional officer at the Sheriff's Office, and last day of employment is 11/24/15.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
And also a resignation for Andrew Harrison, correctional officer at the Sheriff's Office. Last day of work 11/24/15.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir.
A lot of these are just part-time help.
Cleaning.
Several of those that you named I've never met. So
Yeah.
I'm just cleaning up the books.
I just wanted that kind of thrown out there just so people understood.
It hasn't been like a
We're not cleaning house over
firing
there.
and-
Yeah,
No,
so
no.
There's a bunch of people unhappy resigning. It's just some of them, they haven't worked since I've been in
Yeah.
office.
The dates go back to 2013 for, so that's good. All right.
Okay.
That's all I had on the sheriff's. Next we have is an agreement with Pictometry International Corp. Micah, you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure.
You want to put the camera on you too?
No. This is an agreement with a pictometry for aerial photography. It would be 2 flights, a flight in 2016 and a flight in 2019, 3 years apart. This would be aerial photography that is both top-down and the side angle oblique imagery that would have multiple uses in the various offices, 911, assessors, et cetera, et cetera. We've visited with all the departments that use this, would use updated imagery. I'll remind you guys that Our last aerial photography was flown in the spring of 2008. And then we had another flight in November of 2009, so we're long overdue for having some updated imagery. This is imagery that will, once we've flown it and have access to it, will be on our Beacon website, available to the public, our real estate website, so everyone will have access for viewing the information. And we've spoken with all the departments. They're all in agreement that if we're going to do aerial photography flight, this is the kind of imagery that we want to collect. And we've worked out in a partnership where the payment of this aerial photography over this 6-year contract will be divided up over several funds, including the Assessor's Fund, 911, Secondary Roads, and the General Fund. So no one fund will bear the burden of the cost of this imagery over the next 6 years. Jessica's not here today, the auditor, but she and I have worked together and have come out with something that she is very pleased. And I like to have Jessica very pleased when it comes to figuring out payments and contracts. Rick Dunn did take a look at the contract and saw no problems with it. So we've asked to put it before you guys to consider it and if sign it so that we can move forward with this. Do you guys have any questions for me or other people that were involved in this?
I've asked all my questions. Some questions like, we got the assessor here. You got any comments on it?
No,
The
not
use-
really, as long,
The use of it, or?
yeah, I'm assuming we're still doing what, the 6-inch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. In fact, it might be a little bit better. It might be 5-inch
Oh,
imagery. I
that'll
think
even
it's like
help.
however they
Well,
magically do it. It's,
Yeah, and that'll be a little better for the public too, because in the past, the country was different than the towns. And not all the towns were done at the same height either. I mean, we only had, what, 5 towns, I think, that
Right.
were-
This imagery was flown in November of 2009 as part of a grant in emergency management, and we were limited to what we could do because it was part of a larger regional grant. And so, as a result, we were not able to fly some of the communities, the smaller communities such as Buckeye and Owasso were not included. And the technology has changed since the 2009, where we used to get a higher level of imagery that maybe it didn't have as good a resolution. Now they fly the entire county at the same level, same height. So we'll see nice detailed resolution imagery for all parts, nooks and crannies in the corners of Hardin County.
We're way overdue for an update, and this will keep us updated for the next 6 years, so.
Yeah, and spreading the cost out also
Mhm.
helps.
We were trying to do a way that
That I
was
like.
manageable. And removed this, part of the appeal of doing this is, we know when our next flight will be. So
Yes.
we don't have to redo this process,
Mhm.
every few years, that we can at least we're set for the next 6 years.
Right.
And who knows what after that.
Okay.
Thanks for your efforts to help with this process.
I know we had the question asked when he gave the presentation. Can you kind of explain the difference between the Google Earth and
Mhm.
what this is? Why we would do this instead of using Google
Okay.
Earth?
The Google Earth is more of a, it's flown by a variety, okay, so the top-down imagery would be flown by a variety of contracted companies or Google themselves. They actually fly some of their own imagery. It's, they basically have a philosophy of what's best available. When you get down on the street level, what's on Google Earth or Street View in Google Maps is taken from a car driving around streets and taking snapshots it's a 360 view camera mounted on top of a vehicle, and it's literally driving through. We actually have Street View in lots of areas of Hardin County, but only in cities. I don't think I've hardly ever seen a Street View in a rural area, for starters. And what makes this imagery so much more valuable to the county is it's not just a pretty picture. These are ortho-rectified imagery that you basically can measure off of. They're mathematically whatever, so that when you draw using their tools, you can measure heights and distances. You just can't do that on an imagery. There's too much distortion in a photograph for measuring. So this has all been photographs that are rectified and have a location, so to speak, but not just a location X, Y on Earth, but the Z value on the height. So it's a much more valuable piece of imagery, much more usable by the county, not just a picture. I hope I explained that.
One of the demonstrations he gave us was a football field. 100 yards is 100 yards.
Yeah, that was actually pretty impressive.
Any other questions?
No.
Not for me.
Next, I'm asking, should we enter or not enter with the agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with Pictometry International Corporation.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next we have is the auditor's monthly report.
I'll make a motion to approve the auditor's monthly report for the month of November.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next we have is another series of change of statuses in community services. 2 resignations and 1 hire.
I will make a motion to accept the change of status for Rebecca Highland, resignation. Thank her for her service, many years of service. Our last day will be 12/4 of this month.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
And that is her last day in office, but she does have some vacation time that she'll be using, so 1/4 will be her last actual day of employment.
She's a good employee.
Yeah.
H0.
Yes. And same with...
Well, any other
Sorry.
discussion?
Yep.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
All right. And also to accept the change of status for Brenda Meyer-Pelsner. Also a resignation, case manager. Last day of employment will be 12/11. And again, thanks for her service.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
And then accept change of status for Jody Hamilton, service coordinator, hourly salary at $39,520. Hire for, well, yeah, this will be a hire.
Okay, I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. That's what we had for change of statuses. Next, we move into community services department and update. And Lynn, can you update us on some of these right out of the gate?
Yeah, I just kind of prepared a little written report for you too, but mainly wanted to update you on this managed care, and of course, that's what's kind of bringing, that's why you're taking actions to date for people that are leaving us, and kind of related to why we're hiring one, but, and I know you've probably read a lot about it in the newspaper, the Register's covered it almost every day, but as of now, there's still scheduled as of January 1st that the 4 managed care companies would begin managing the 550,000 people who are on Medicaid in Iowa. The 4 companies are AmeriGroup, AmeriHealth, Caritas, United Healthcare, and WellCare. The states really, there's been other states that have implemented managed care, but I don't think any other state has tried to do it as quickly as Iowa has. They've tried to implement it over a few months. Most states have taken up to 2 years to implement this. So that's been a real problem. So I just kind of listed for you some of the things that are still, even though we're now less than a month away from the supposed implementation, the federal government still has not approved Iowa's plan. And in fact, I think there's been so much comment that the feds have actually come out to Iowa and they've been holding listening posts and listening to clients and consumers and providers talk about it. And I would guess, I don't know how they operate, but there's probably a 50-50 chance that maybe they won't even approve the plan. I think the state is just going forward like they assume that they will. So, and they were originally gonna make a determination in November, and then they put it off till the first part of December, and now I've been told that we won't even know if guys are gonna approve it until late in December. There's been a lawsuit that was brought by there were I think 11 companies that applied to be the managed care, and they selected 4. And so 3 of the companies that weren't selected actually filed a lawsuit based on a lot of different things, but a lot of it was primarily focused toward WellCare, which is one of the companies that did get a contract. There were issues of, a person that was employed by DHS kind of inside working, and then there was like a blackout period where nobody was supposed to have contact with the state while they were preparing their bids, but yet, it was found that one of their lobbyists and one of the people who had been a DHS consultant was communicating with the Medicaid director, things like that. And then also they hadn't reported, they were required to report in their application any infractions they had had in other states, and they just didn't report several fines and things that they had paid in other states for things that they had done that were not proper. So just last week it came out that the administrative law judge did say that they should throw out the WellCare contract. But now it goes to, I think, the director of DIA, which is, a political appointment. So she may still just move forward with the way it is, or she could, or they could choose to throw out WellCare and just continue with the other 3 or whatever. So that's still out there pending. Another issue is that the hospitals, I don't think any of the major hospitals have signed on yet, and they've also brought a lawsuit, which is a separate lawsuit. And I know it has something to do with, there's some money that the hospitals have to put up to the state, and supposedly the state is using that money to pay the MCOs, and they're saying that's not legal. But then there's also issues just with contracting, and if you don't have a signed contract, they will pay you, but they'll only pay you 90% of what your cost, of what your rate is. And so it's related around those issues. So that's still out there pending. And then there's still several lawmakers. I just saw on the news last week again that I think 3 of the senators went to Washington to try to convince the Fed. So, there's just a lot of issues out there that are still unsettled. And then you throw into the mix of this that our clients, who everybody was supposed to have gotten a letter like in October that told you who you were assigned to. Well, as of today, I just had a call this morning from a mother of one of our clients who said, we still haven't gotten her letter. So they're going out, but they're kind of going out, and I don't know how they're doing it, but there's some people that still don't know even what company they're assigned to. And then the clients supposedly up till December 17th can choose a different company. But then if they don't do that by the 17th, then they're automatically enrolled in whatever company they're assigned to as of January 1st. And then there is a process over the first 2 months that they can, ask for a reassignment. But so just with all these different things going on, it's just been, it's very, very hectic. It's very difficult to get information. I was involved in a meeting with one of the companies, and we hope to get answers, but really there weren't many answers that they gave. But I did want to also point out that, the 2 people that resigned today, the case managers, they're going to managed care companies. They're actively recruiting case managers because as part of the state proposal, case management, they don't really call it case management, it's more like care coordination is part of the managed care's obligation. So 2 of the companies have indicated that they may be willing to contract with some of the existing agencies. But then what's happening is these managed care companies are so desperate because they have to show that they're ready by having staff, so they're going out and recruiting, and they call our staff all the time, and the 2 staff that are leaving would choose not to leave. It's just that they can't pass it up. These companies are offering them increases in pay and lots of incentives to get them on board. So, but it doesn't really affect our Central Iowa Community Service region, which is our 10-county region. The managed care doesn't really affect that directly because, we'll still fund the same people we funded. We still work with the same clients. What it will affect is our separate case management agency, which is Central Iowa Case Management, and sometimes it's hard to keep those things separate. But We've lost, throughout our region, which covers Story, Franklin, Hardin, and Marshall counties, we've lost, I know we've lost at least, 6 or 7, I think I put it in here, staff so far. So we're probably about half staffed right now, which has meant we're still trying to serve about 400 clients. So, we've had to increase caseloads 50% over the last month. I've taken a caseload myself, short term. And so we're just struggling trying to do what we need to do for the clients until the transition starts. Assuming it starts January 1st, then we can start transitioning people to the managed care companies. But there's also provision where the clients can choose to keep their current case manager for up to 6 months. So, we could have a situation where we say we need to transition you, but they can say, well, I don't want to transition, and then I think we would still need to serve those people for 6 months. So Ron is on our case management board, and they approved a transition plan, which says we're operational through June 30th, and then beyond that, we're still undetermined. But so we will have staff through June 30th, but we will probably start transitioning these people as soon as we can after January 1st. Partly just because we don't have capacity to continue to serve all these people with our loss of staff. And then the last paragraph I just addressed a little bit because Renee had sent me a copy of a letter that you guys I think got from another county, and I think that county was advocating a 2-year delay, and I put in here, I have mixed feelings. I feel like the state didn't do it proper from the start. They should have had a slower transition, but at this point in time,
We're
if they
far enough
don't
into
do
this
it,
right now.
then we're faced with Magellan is out of business December 31st, so who's going to serve those people? Our case management agencies, there are some case management agencies that have already said they're closing December 31st. And then ours is half staff, so to have to go another 6 months of trying to serve all these people. So I just feel like it's probably going to be a problem no matter which way they go, but I guess I would advise you not to get involved in it's become very political. It's become like there's a state legislative oversight committee of legislators, and it's become very political, so that whenever they have a vote on anything, like they voted on this issue of delaying for 6 months, and it's always party line voting because the Republicans think they need to support the governor and the Democrats are all against it, and so it's just become very political. And I just saw in the paper yesterday that the governor is saying, still move forward. So I would bet that it's probably going to move forward January 1st, unless the feds don't approve it. But that'd probably be the one thing that would hold it back. So, that's and
No
then
matter what, we're still kind of stuck in a no man's land
Yeah.
right now, so.
And then I just attached another sheet that was I used as an outline for when I met with the advisory board, and a lot of it, some of it's the same information, but I also put the timeline on there so you could see kind of the way it was supposed to happen. But like I said, their timeline they didn't follow their timeline because like the client letters were supposed to go out in October are still, some of them haven't gone out, so it really is, it's a mess. But we'll make the best of it no matter which way we go, but.
Well, I've been trying to keep my team here updated on what's going on, but it's a constant update, and I'm glad you came in to maybe put more clarity into what I've been sharing, so appreciate it, Lynn.
And if and when we find out for sure, I'll let you know either by email or whatever, but.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Lynn.
A lot of changes.
Yeah.
And good luck keeping up.
Yeah.
It's just too bad we're losing our staff, and the money's
Yeah.
all gonna be going out of state now.
Yeah, and I hate to
The
lose
four
my staff.
companies.
The only good part of it is that I know they're going to places where they are getting, it's not like they're having to take a job where they're having to.
Will they get to keep some of the same
Clients,
clients
yeah.
then, or
Well,
do they know that yet?
If they get assigned, if clients would get assigned to their company, they might be able to
Keep some.
serve some of those same people. And, and so we have, as far as Hardin County and the way it impacts us, we have now, the 2 case managers have left. We have one other case manager, Mary. but says she'll stick with us till the end of when we need her, and then she plans to retire. So, I mean, I don't think we have much exposure as far as worrying about unemployment or those type things, but.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
Next, we have utility permits and secondary roads department.
No utility permits. Nothing to report.
Okay. Any other business? Hearing none, I'll ask for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. We're adjourned.